I don't know if you saw the video. It made me think of it. Oh, you can't see my water bottle because of the green screen. But did you see the video of the Florida football coach trying to open his water bottle during the press conference
No.
after Miami kicked their ass? Like, so Miami whoops their ass, right?
Yeah,
On
I was
Saturday.
gonna say, was it as good as the way that Florida played on
No, it was
Saturday?
even better. It was even better. You should probably see my whole head to explain this to you. It was even better. The guy is on, like, with the microphone in his face, and he's wrenching the water bottle like as hard as he can. And when it's like, oh god, now it's not going to open, and it's like probably getting sweaty and doing the whole thing. Yeah, he just finally put it down. He gave up. He couldn't open the water bottle. This is happening during his press conference after they get their ass kicked. So of course the joke is like, he can't even open a water bottle. How can he coach a football team? It's crazy.
So
It's
he's
crazy.
basically the Josh Allen of college football.
Maybe. I mean, did he have 27 fantasy points this weekend? Because that's what Josh is going to have.
Oh, well, welcome to another episode of Three and Out. Happy New Year, fantasy football fans. We are on the brink, probably by the time you listen to this, we are on the day of the opening of the 2024 NFL season. Can't believe it's finally here. It's been a good summer. I'm your host, Wayne Cavadi. And guys, check this out. Can you see it? It's the Gridiron Ratings merch.
Oh,
Oh,
good
look
Irons
at that.
rating.
Beautiful.
Look at that.
Love it.
I got some Gridiron Ratings merch there for you guys. And I'm joined, as always, by the greatest co-hosts in fantasy football. Let's start with you over there, Mr. New York, Chris FanDuel, Fiumano. We're gonna get some stacks today?
We are going to get some stacks. I am back in New York. I'm back from vacation, and hopefully my audio is going to be better this week because it wasn't so great last week, but we think we got that fixed. So
Yeah, well, we were on location. It was excusable. You weren't at your regular your podcast setup. Hanging out down in North Carolina, Mr. Mike, the Professor Dunton. What's going on?
Nothing. Football starts, which is pretty exciting. It also means I'm close to a little break here in a couple of weeks because that means fall's coming. Fiumano's
Yeah.
birthday gets me closer. Things are
We're
happening.
going. I'm going to Disney in 16 days.
Look at that.
Yeah. Pretty excited. So we finally get to jump back into our episode. Before we do, let's remember we did a little something last week. I'm pulling it up right now. And we called it rosterbation. It's not a word that we made up. It's a word that's out there in the fantasy crazy world. And what we decided was it was a fun little bit. So we're going to talk about one of our friends or longtime listeners' roster each week before we jump into buy it or bullshit and start the show. So today we're Richie, who's a longtime listener of the show, a big fan. He sent us his roster. And gentlemen, let's break down this starting team because I think we reviewed 3 last week. This might be the best one yet. His roster is at quarterback, CJ Stroud, at wide receiver, Jamar Chase, at his other wide receiver, Drake London, at running back, Derrick Henry, at other running back, Aaron Jones, at tight end, Sam Laporta, and at his flex is Rashee Rice. Fee, you're nodding in joy. What are you thinking?
well, I'm thinking that I like all of those names.
Right.
There are some question marks.
Sure.
Jamar Chase is one of them now because, that wasn't really a question mark all the way up until about a week ago.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden is he actually going to even play? So that's one. I really like Sam Laporta, obviously. I really like Derrick Henry. Aaron Jones, I like too, but again, that's kind of a question mark. And what was that second receiver? Not Rashee Rice.
Drake London.
Yes, Drake London. We all love Drake London. So solid starting lineup from top to bottom there.
Dutton, any thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I think Fiumano hit on it. Like the Jamar Chase puts a big question mark on what, other than that, is a very solid top to bottom lineup, right? I think that's the big question mark is the Jamar Chase, and not because of injury, not because of anything, but capitalism. So
Aaron Jones is a great RB2, considering you could tell that he didn't invest highly in running backs. right? Like
Right.
he
Right.
went after other pieces first. You
Oh,
don't
yeah.
get you don't get Chase, London, and Laporta if you're going running back, right? That just
Yep.
doesn't happen.
Yeah, he probably got him in like the 5th or 6th round.
And getting two decent running backs, even if we have our question marks about Derrick Henry, if he's going to last the whole season or if he's just going to be a plowing up the middle, get the touchdown guy, like there are question marks there. Those are two solid backs to have because it's really hard to get two good backs. I'm super high on Drake London. Obviously, I love CJ Stroud, MVP. We should just call him that right now. But my question is, gentlemen, before we get into buy it or BS, is Jamar Chase. Fee, put a percentage on it that you think he's on the field week 1. Let's just talk about week 1.
Sheesh, it really sounds like he wants to hold out. So I'm gonna only put like a 30% chance he's on the field week 1.
Dutton?
I was gonna go a coin flip 50-50. So Fiumano one-upped me with his 30%. I mean,
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
morning I was this morning I was at like 60-40 he plays, but the longer the day went on, the more I'm like, tomorrow's Thursday. Like, I mean, there's walkthroughs,
he's
yeah, like it's time.
He's been
I
at
don't
practice,
know,
right?
man.
He's doing a hold in. Isn't that what they're
Right.
calling it when he
Yeah,
goes to practice, but he doesn't do anything?
he
Yeah.
actually practiced 2 days,
Oh, okay.
like a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
we held out, came back, practiced 2 days, and then didn't come back at all. Now he is doing the hold in where he's at practice and he's not doing anything. So yeah, and he obviously knows the plays and he knows, he could go out in the field and do it, but he's not doing anything. He's not practicing, he's not running, what's his conditioning like? Yes, these are elite athletes and probably he'll be fine, but is he actually going to decide to play? Like is he actually going to hold out?
I think it's
I think
100% chance he's out week 1.
I mean
Just week 1,
I
though. I think he's back week
right.
2.
Sure.
I was gonna say, I think he sits out week 1 to prove a
Yeah.
point, and I think he hopes in his soul that the Bengals win, but they struggle to win, and that their offense sputters, and everyone's like, "We need Jamar Chase, we need," like that's what he's hoping for. What will suck for him is if the Bengals go out there, dominate without Jamar Chase. T. Higgins is a boss, and the Bengals like, man, you know what? We're gonna pay you instead of him. Like that would be something.
Well, considering they're playing the Florida of the NFL, the
Right,
Patriots, there's a
right,
very good chance they could beat them without Jamar Chase.
right.
Um, so yeah, I think I don't know how he's ready for week 1. You're right, he is Jamar Chase. He could go out there 50% and still be the 5th best wide receiver in football. I do agree there, but I just don't know how he's ready. And like you said, it sends a message, or the Bengals can make him inactive and send the reverse message,
Right, right.
and be like, "Screw you, buddy,"
Oh
because
yeah,
it is
we'll
the
show you who's
Patriots.
boss.
Yeah. All right. So, gentlemen, that's great and all good talk, but we do finally get into, since our last show in February, our first buy it or bullshit of the season. So let's get right into it. Again, for new listeners this year, I ask a question. I ask if it's buy it or BS. Fiumano and Dunton, like what's that show? Around the Horn, if you would. I need to get a dinger for points and just give you guys points. Ding, 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 ding. And that's basically what it is. So let's get started with our good friend and friend of the show, Josh Allen. Josh Allen is playing the Cardinals, which was the 4th worst. Now, remember, we have no idea what defenses are going to look like now. We're going off last year's numbers, but they were the 4th worst fantasy defense against quarterbacks in 2023. Dutton, we'll start with you. Buy it or BS. Josh Allen goes over 24 points. Buy it or BS. Fantasy
I'm buying
points.
it.
You're
I'm
buying it.
buying it.
Even without a receiver.
He's got receivers. He just
I
doesn't have a number
consider them
1 wide
receivers.
receiver.
Yeah.
And I think that actually plays to his benefit in that he's not going to lock in on one target. He's going to spread the ball. He's going to find the open receiver. He's going to find the open target. It might not be a receiver. I expect big things out of his tight ends because Josh Allen doesn't turn the ball over if he only throws it 7 yards every pass.
Yeah.
I expect him to have 300 yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns. Yeah. 20. So yeah, he can do it. Over.
See?
Yeah, I'm going over also. Yes, he doesn't have a ton of receivers, but he does have receivers. And he also has Dalton Kincaid. And James Cook catches the ball out of the backfield. And oh, by the way, he still runs the ball. And I expect that he'll run the ball even more so now, that his receivers are a little less than what he had last year, right? So I do expect him to go over 24 points. I think he has a big game. I don't know if the Bills even win this game, but I don't think it matters because he's gonna have big stats.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. Surprisingly enough, I don't like to agree with anything, but like the bottom line is in fantasy, especially a 6 point touchdown league, that game is likely to be a shootout, I would think. Arizona's gonna come out firing. Yeah, Josh Allen, what's that for Josh Allen? 3 touchdowns, right? One on the ground, two
Three
passing, 75
and 300
interceptions, and
yards.
400 yards passing. Um, but he'll probably get there at 24 points. He'll probably get there. Fee, we're definitely starting with you on the next question.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Brian Dable, New York Giants head coach, announced he will be calling the plays in 2024. Unfortunately, one Daniel Dimes is still the quarterback. So, Fee, buy it or BS? Brian Dable calling the plays in New York makes a positive difference.
Uh, so this might be the skepticism in me, but I say no, not in the slightest. Unless Danny Dimes can somehow upgrade his play, it's not going to matter who's calling the plays and what kind of plays they call. I mean, yes, you could say that play calls matter, and if he puts Daniel Dimes into good situations, that would be helpful. But I think it's really on Dimes to do something more this year, and that's on him rather than the play caller.
Dutton.
So I think it helps in two ways. One, it helps because Brian Daboll was the savior of Josh Allen. We all remember that when he was offensive coordinator in Buffalo. So if anyone can help Daniel Jones, it's going to be him. So here's part two as it helps the Giants. If it can't help Daniel Jones, then the Giants can say very quickly, this is not the quarterback and it's time to get rid of him. Right. So I don't know if it'll help them win games, but I think it helps them from an organizational standpoint.
Look, there was the rumors they were going to cut him. We talked about it last week that they were going to not even add him to the 53 man, but they did. Dable a couple days later,
That
Dable
wasn't gonna.
never. Yeah, it's too much money. Dable becomes basically the offensive coordinator. A couple days later, they are loaded at wide receiver. Like they're not like it's not like they have Texans wide receivers, but they have some fun names that could actually do something. And then you're talking about Dable helped Josh Allen, but so did Devin Singletary, and who else did they? That's who they brought in the backfield. So I think there's interesting pieces that the Giants could be a little bit better than Fee will. I mean, it's been 5 years of this show, and Fee has never been nice to the Giants, so that's expected. But I think it helps a little bit to Dutton's point. I think it's a positive impact because, as also Dutton said, one way or the other, they're going to find out what they got.
You know what's gonna matter for the Giants? Offensive line.
Yeah.
That's what's going to matter. That's what's going to make or break their offense. It's their offensive line, which has been god awful for over a decade. And so, if you can't fix that, and they've tried to, and they just haven't been able to do it. But if you can't fix that, you're not going to fix your offense. Now, they've made moves in this offseason. So, and I like those moves, and hopefully that offensive line can prove to be better. And, even if they're like middle of the pack in the league, that would be fantastic. So if they can somehow figure out that offensive line and have those guys play well, they could be better on offense.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Next question is Jerome Ford has a lot of the hype now, basically because the Browns have no running backs except for Jerome Ford. But I just there's another RB1 because of injury that nobody's talking about, and that's Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard. It's hard to say that guy's name, man. He's playing the Saints. The last time he faced the Saints, he had 87 yards, a couple receptions for like 10 yards. Not a big day. But if Jeff, who is on the show, feels the Panthers are going to be a better team, just even slightly better, then that means Chuba as the RB1 without much competition there. Because if I don't buy Miles Sanders, um, should have a slightly better day. So we're talking 10 to 12 points. My question is, the reason I'm saying this is every time it seems like somebody is on somebody and everybody's on Jerome Ford right now, that guy sucks. So week 1, Jerome Ford against a really good Cowboys defense, or Chuba Hubbard against the Saints. Who are you going with if you had that choice? Dutton.
I'm going with Chuba Hubbard because of exactly what you said. Everyone else is talking about Jerome Ford, and I'm usually the guy who's going to go the opposite of what everyone else is trying to do. I also just think the Cowboys' defensive line is good. The Cowboys' linebackers are good. They're good against the run. They're not good against the pass, but they're good against the run. So yeah, Chuba Hubbard.
Faith?
I'm going with Jerome Ford. If it's between these two, I'm taking Ford over Hubbard. Jerome Ford, like you said, there's no other running backs right now currently that are going to spell him or take him out of the game. So he's going to get tons of volume, which is what you want. But also Cleveland still has a top 5 offensive line, whereas the Carolina Panthers are still bottom 3rd in the offensive line.
Yeah.
And yes, you can say that Dallas's defense is very good, and they are. They're very opportunistic.
Yeah.
But with all the volume and as good as Cleveland's offensive line is, I still feel like Jerome Ford should probably have the better day fantasy wise. So I'm gonna go with Ford over Hubbard this week.
Well, that means I got to break the tie. I think I'm going Chuba. Mainly because I have to play him in one of my leagues because of our injuries already. Let's do a little division winner predictions here. Let's start in the AFC. I'm gonna just read you my pick, and the buy it or BS will be if I'm right or not. So Fee, AFC East, I got the New York Jets. Buy it or BS?
Buying it. I'm taking the Jets too.
Dutton.
BS, Bills.
Bills, you're still with the Bills, eh? Even
with the Bills. A lot of people down on them. I'm telling you.
AFC North. Here's the way I see how the AFC North is going to go, gentlemen. It's going to be 4 teams, all finishing 10-7, and the Bengals are going to somehow win the division by some sort of bizarre tiebreaker, likely because they have the most points. So Bengals are my AFC North division winner. Dutton, buy it or BS?
BS Browns.
Browns. The Browns. Fee.
I got the Ravens.
Wow, we got a trifecta of not agreeing. the old non-agreeing trifecta. AFC South, I'm hoping we all agree on this one. I got the Houston Texans over here.
Texans. Yep,
Texans. And the AFC West we'll probably all agree on as well, the Tyler Swift Swifties. Fake?
Yes. Correct. The chef. Yep. Great googly moogly.
the chefs.
All right, let's move to the NFC because this is where 2 of my co-host teams are home, and we'll go to Dunton first on the NFC East. I have this is a tough one. I have your Dallas Cowboys. Buy it or BS?
I went with the Eagles.
Eagles. Fake.
I got the Eagles too.
Not even gonna pick the Giants for fun, huh?
Nope. Not even a chance.
Fair enough. NFC North, I have the Green Bay Packers. Fee, buy it or BS?
I'm saying BS. I'm going with the Lions.
Yeah, I feel like it's our show. We gotta get a Lions shout out in there. Dutton.
I'm going with you on that one. I think the Packers.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've seen some people predict the Packers to make it to the Super Bowl.
I've seen a couple of people predict the Packers to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, quite a few.
I don't know if I'm there yet, but
yeah, I don't know, but they do have a good team. Fee, I'm going to go to you. NFC South, buy it or BS. The Falcons are your AFC South champions.
Ooh, I'm going BS. I'm taking the Bucks.
Yeah, Dutton.
Yeah,
Fiumano's a smart man. It's the Bucks.
It probably is the Bucks, but I'm going the Falcons.
Here's the deal, really quick. As a Bucks fan, I'm going to say this: the Bucks are either winning the division or they're going 4-13. There's no in between. So. I'm telling you, it's either going to be we're going to win a division at 10-7, maybe 9-8, probably 10-7, or we're going to go 4-13. Baker's going to be terrible. We're going to want to cut him by week 9. It's going to be awful. That's how it's going to go this year. Anyway, go ahead.
NFC West, I went back and forth between the Rams and 49ers here a couple times, but it just feels like it's still very much the 49ers because they came to terms with everyone they had to come to terms with. McCaffrey looks like he's healthy at least for week 1. So I went 49ers. Dutton, buy it or BS?
I went Rams.
You
I
did go
just think
Rams.
I think the window's closed on the 49ers, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're gonna have an injury. I don't know. Like, I just feel like something's gonna be off with them this year. Like, I don't know.
Fee.
Yeah, I went with the Niners. They'll still win the division no matter if they have injuries or what.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. This wasn't on our little question sheet, but I'll ask you anyway. Dutton, do you have a Super Bowl prediction?
Uh-oh.
Well, I don't have a prediction. I used some free betting money back in April, and if the Bucks just happen to play the Bills in the Super Bowl, I win $10,000. So that's
Let's
what I'm rooting.
go.
That's what I'm rooting
Bucks,
for.
Bills, baby.
Only
That's what
because
I'm
of my
rooting for
house.
too.
But if I'm realistically looking at a Super Bowl prediction, I think I'm having the Chiefs play the Detroit Lions.
Okay. Fee?
It's funny. I was gonna say the same thing, but since you said that, I'll go Ravens Lions.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
All right.
All right, so let me ask you something. Shout out to Teddy Ballgame, longtime listener, for talking about this with me today. Jared Goff has 14 games indoors this year. Is it?
Wow.
I was down on Jared Goff. I remember I said he was going to have a good year, but I just felt like they're going to be running the ball more with those two guys healthy back there. But can Jared Goff win MVP if they're inside for 14 games? Like, the guy is unstoppable inside. I mean, so yeah, you both picked the Lions. That's why I'm like, buy it or BS. Jared Goff is MVP this year. Fake.
uh, I
A
I
pop
guess I'm I
quiz.
guess I'm I guess I'm buying it, right? I mean, like if you said if you I didn't know that he had 14 games indoors. And now that I do know that, and I took the Lions to be in the Super Bowl, they must be doing something right. So I'm gonna go with it.
Done.
I'm
Buy it or
going
BS.
BS. I'm going BS. They're going to get into the playoffs as a wild card team, and wild card teams usually don't have an MVP on them.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to go BS. Doesn't mean he doesn't have a good season, right? Doesn't mean he doesn't have a good year, but I'm just going to go BS. I picked the Packers to win the division, so I think that eliminates him from possibly winning MVP.
I agree. It's BS because it's going to be the Houston Texans quarterback, CJ Stroud. It should be MVP Stroud. Okay, before we close up, buy it or BS, I thought this would be fun. Some I don't want to say big name free agents and holdouts, but some familiar names are still out there on the wire. And I thought we'd go through the list and see if any of them we feel would play significant minutes this year, like fantasy minutes, obviously, is what I'm talking about. Let's start with Hassan Reddick on the Jets, who feels like I don't know if he's ever going to come back. Dutton.
No, he's not playing. He told them he didn't want to play. The Jets traded for him anyway. He's not playing.
Fate, you agree?
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. He's not going to play. I'm betting that he holds out for the entire season, and the Jets should just let him because he doesn't have any leverage. You know, they don't. What do they care? They still have a really good defense. They don't need him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, he would make them a lot better, but they're good anyway. So
Dalvin Cook signed with the Cowboys, and now Dallas officially has the most washed up running back field in
Practice
all of
squad.
the NFL. I heard they're bringing in Terrell Davis next week.
Possibly.
So does Dalvin Cook? He's on the practice squad now. Does Dalvin Cook actually get fantasy minutes this year? Fee.
So I want to say yes, but it's no because of the situation, and he's just not the same back as he used to be.
Yeah, obviously, or he would have been signed a long time ago. Dutton.
Rico Daddle. It's Rico Daddle time in Dallas. They're not going to need Dalvin Cook. They got their other two washed up backs, and then they got Rico Daddle. They'll be fine. Dalvin Cook can stay on the practice squad and pretend to be Devin Singletary and all the other guys he can pretend to be.
Yeah. What's up with Hunter Renfrow? Does Hunter Renfrow get signed by somebody like first injury? Is he the first man up? Dutton.
I don't know if he's the first man up because I think Hunter Renfrow is a very niche kind of receiver, right? So it depends on what team is looking for what type of receiver. Do they need that slot guy to go out and get 8 yards? Yeah. So I don't know if he's first, but I think he's a possibility depending on need.
B?
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll sign somewhere eventually and probably be a factor, but it really just depends on what team needs him and as long as he's playing in the slot position, in three wide receiver sets, then I think that he'll make a difference. But he won't make a difference for fantasy. So
Yeah. Ryan Tannehill's still out there. Is he signed?
No.
I mean, obviously not with Desmond Ritter as a free agent. There's no way Ryan Tannehill. Michael Thomas. Is Michael Thomas done?
yes,
Dunzo. Dunzo.
Do you think
Dunzo.
it's because he's just injured and banged up, or do you think people just don't want to deal with him anymore?
Yes and
both.
yes.
Yeah, both.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The whole Tim Patrick, not that this guy was great or anything, but he definitely had some fantasy worthy games. That whole drama to end the season, and then he just got cut. Does he get signed by another team?
No.
I
I
don't
don't
think so.
know who we're talking about, really. I mean, he's kind of forgotten since that Whittle, like,
He had that run. Yeah.
right. And I think teams forgot him.
Chase Claypool is on his was on his 75th team in 4 minutes. And now he's cut again. Does he get another chance to sign?
Did you see what
Nope.
I wrote? Did he get meaningful minutes last year?
Right. Or the year before?
What
He got
amazing
meaningful minutes because he played for 3 different teams in the same season. He just kept going somewhere. Another guy that's bounced around a lot, Matt Breida, is on the wire. Dutton, no?
Why? Why would he get minutes? Like
You
he's
want to know what? I've
29.
said that for 4 years, and that guy is still like he starts 3 games
Right, but
a
now
year
he's
somehow.
29. Fee,
Yeah,
right?
fair
Tell
enough.
him, Fee.
Yeah, he's 29 years old. Not sure. I'm not sure he gets picked up unless there's some serious injury bug that it's some team that absolutely needs somebody to come in.
If
Matt
Matt
Breida
Breida
gets
is playing
signed.
for your team, everything has gone wrong for your season.
If
That's
Matt Breida
basically
is playing for
yeah.
your team, there's some sort of matrix worm that has attacked every running back in the NFL that was starting for teams, and now we're going to the Matt Breida camps.
And lastly, Kareem Hunt. He was a late signee last year, and I believe Dutton called him the old lawnmower in the shed that you took out to try to get one more use out of. So probably anyone think he signs anywhere?
Right.
Nope.
Nope. I
Oh,
mean, he's better than Matt Breida, but
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, he's definitely getting signed before Matt Breida. All right, so let's. That was fun. That was a good first diet or BS of the season. I love the randomness. So it's time to move on to our first locks of the week. Do some
lock it up.
fancy stuff. Last year, the last 2 years we finished in the 70s, 70%. We're pretty good at this, is what we're telling you. Gambling is becoming more prevalent across the entire United States. So you better listen up, because if you listen to us, we definitely win money. That's the bottom line. That's what we do. As a reminder to people new on the show, we each pick one, and then we pick our consensus 3 and out lock of the week from there that you should absolutely gamble on. Dutton, we'll start with you, Dutton.
Okay, so this is going to be probably the only time I'm picking this team all year, Fiumano, in your honor. This has upset written all over it. The Vikings are 1.5 favorites against the Giants. Pick the Giants. The Giants manhandle the Vikings. Can we talk about the number of times in the playoffs that the Vikings have gone to play the Giants and the Giants have rained on their parade? And I'm
It's
not talking
true.
about purple rain here. I'm talking about like it was bad.
Yeah.
I don't think the Giants are going to be good all year, but let's remember who's the quarterback for the Vikings. Wayne, remind everybody who's quarterbacking for the Vikings.
Sam D. Arnold. That's
Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold used to play in that very same stadium that
He
they're going to
did.
play this. And he was not very good when he played in that stadium, and he's
was.
not going to be very good this weekend. I'm picking the Giants. You're going to win more money if you take my pick because the Giants are the underdog.
Hey,
I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals this week against the beloved Bills. The Cards are getting 6.5, so they're an underdog as well, a bigger underdog. And I'm not sure why it's so many points because I do really like Kyler Murray this year. Obviously he's got Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. And I just think that the Cards offense should be able to stay with the Bills, even if they don't win the game. The Bills defense has lost a bunch of guys. They're not nearly as good as they were on both sides of the ball. I just like the Cards getting a bunch of points.
Yeah, yeah. So we got two underdogs. I'm going to have to flip that, and I'm going to give you, I think it was when I looked, the largest spread of the week. And I'm going with the Bengals against the Patriots. As I said, the Patriots, I think, score once in the game and it's garbage time. I don't think this Patriots team is very good. I don't think Ramondre Stevenson is back to being the Ramondre Stevenson just yet. Give him a game or two to get back to that. And Jamar Chase or not, we talked about it earlier. I think the Bengals win this game handedly. I don't think the Patriots are good at all. I can't tell you like their depth chart. Like I don't know who all of their wide receivers are. I shouldn't say that on a fantasy football podcast, but don't draft Patriots if you still have a draft out there. So Fee took the Cardinals getting 6.5. Dutton took the Giants getting 1.5, and I'm saying the Bengals at -8.5. What is our lock of the week, gents?
Oh, this is a tough
It
call.
was hard. It was hard. We didn't make this easy this week.
No, we
Yeah.
didn't.
I
I
really want to take the Giants, but I'm not sure I can do it.
Let's do it. It's week one. Let's
It's
do it.
spicy. It's just spicy, right?
It's,
like
it's
spicy.
spicy. That's for
I'm
sure.
telling you,
Dutton,
there's just
Dutton,
something.
are you the secretary? Put it in the in the 3 and out slot for me.
Putting it in Giants.
Giants.
If I can spell it right.
And while you type that, ladies and gentlemen, and daily fantasy sport lovers across the land, it is your first FanDuel Fees Stacks of the Week. Take it away, Fee.
All right. So, obviously, first week of the season, you don't really know what's going on. You kind of just have to go by your gut and also by the salaries that FanDuel has put out, right? And so, with that, I have 3 stacks that I like, plus an honorable mention and a few other singles that I want to throw out there. So to start us off, I'm gonna roll with, and maybe not actually roll with them, but I like this stack this week. Josh Allen and the Bills. Josh Allen is the highest salaried quarterback on the slate at $9,200, which is a lot, especially for a quarterback when you don't need to spend that money. However, Arizona's defense is not good, or they haven't been good. We don't really know this year, but I don't expect them to be. And Josh Allen, his receivers, both of them are all of them are fairly cheap. But I especially like Curtis Samuel this week. He's only $5,200, so he's so cheap. Like if when you pair Josh Allen and Curtis Samuel, those two salaries, it's $14,400. You're just about $500 to $1,000 more than any other stack where it would be like kind of middle of the road. And so it's fairly close to other stacks that you would want to throw out there. And if you want to roll with Josh Allen because you think he's going to have a phenomenal game, we obviously thought think he's going to have a phenomenal game this week. You could pair him up with Curtis Samuel, and you're saving a bunch of money there. It's not a bad idea. And plus, I think you're going to get different because not a lot of people are probably going to be playing Curtis Samuel this week.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So stack number 2, I really like the Jaguars against the Dolphins. So I'd be going with Trevor Lawrence at 7,400 and Evan Ingram at 6,200. You could also throw in a couple of his wide receivers there. Christian Kirk would probably be a good spot for him. But I really like Ingram. Ingram had the most or second most targets among tight ends on the year last year. And listen, the Dolphins have lost a bunch of guys on defense. That game should be some sort of shootout. And if you're getting guys like Trevor Lawrence and Evan Ingram at decent salaries, that's a solid play in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that.
Stack number 3 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the reason why mostly is because Chris Godwin, for some reason, is $5,600. That is so cheap for a guy that who's now going to be playing the slot exclusively, who should command a ton of targets against the Commanders, who, by all accounts, don't have a good defense. They got rid of all their guys last year, right? They traded them all away. So I'm not sure what their defense looks like this year, but Chris Godwin at 5,600 seems criminal to me. And so if you pair him with Baker, Baker, we obviously love Baker on this podcast, or I do anyway. He's 7,200. You could go all sorts of ways with that. I mean, you could play Godwin on his own if you really wanted to, which I may actually do. But I really like that stack this week. Honorable mention is the Seahawks. Geno is only 7K, so he's cheaper than both Trevor Lawrence and Baker. Tyler Lockett's injured, so you can go JSN at 5,200, or you can go DK Metcalf, who also is only 6,900. So he's not very high up there in salary either. So really like DK Metcalf this week with Geno.
And they're playing
And then
Broncos, right?
they are
That
playing
should
the
be
Broncos.
easy points.
Yep, exactly. And so 3 1-offs for you. I got Jerome Ford. We talked about him earlier. He's only 6,200 against Dallas. Aaron Jones, 6,800 against the Giants. We spoke about him also. And Chris Olave is only 7K against Carolina. So there's a lot of ways to go this week. Kind of pick your spots and kind of don't get too crazy in week one. Save it for a couple weeks into the season when we know what these teams are.
Do you have FanDuel right there?
I do.
I'm curious at the quarterbacks. You said Josh Allen's the highest at 9,200. Who are the top 5 this week on FanDuel right now?
CJ Stroud is 8,500 at 2, Burrow at 3 at 84. Anthony Richardson is 4 at 83, and Kyler Murray is 5th at 79.
Interesting. Kyler Murray is in the top 5, huh? Well, I guess maybe they think it's a shootout, like you had said. So maybe that's what it is. All right, I like that. I really like that. I'm intrigued on the Jaguars stack, especially with, like you said, I bet you a couple of their receivers are cheap and could fit him in there nicely and get the triple stack. All right, so now it's our favorite time of the show. This is what this show started with 5 years ago. It was basically just starts and sits, and it was like a 10-minute show. And here we are 5 years later, talking about a whole bunch of fun stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's your weekly fantasy football starts and sits. The 3 of us will go and give you a name at each of the 4 offensive positions, and then we'll pick a 3-and-out consensus start and sit of the week at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. So let's get it started. Fee, we're going to give you the first start of the year. Let's do quarterbacks. Fiumano, start, go.
Matthew Stafford, playing the Lions, his old team. It was a shootout the last time they played. Should be another one this time. I wanted to pick guys that aren't necessarily going to be like automatic starters, and you'll notice that as we go through all the positions. But I wanted to go with Matt Stafford this week.
I like it. Dunton. You're on mute?
Uh-oh.
We are experiencing technical.
We're good.
Hi, there he is.
We're good. I muted on purpose. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt Fee. I too am going with people who probably are not going to be starters, but I guarantee you this was a very highly drafted player who, especially in keeper leagues, but I think you should start Caleb Williams this week. I think he's going to put up a monster game. I think Bears fans, we're not going to hear the end of Bears fans on Monday. Just be prepared. They're going to be talking a lot.
Probably. The Titans are a mess.
Right.
Fee already talked about him. I'm going with Baker, baby. If you go by the numbers last year, Washington was the best at letting up a lot of points to quarterbacks on a weekly basis, and that's who the Buccaneers are playing. So I think Baker has a solid day, and Fee pretty much touched on everything else. He's still got the weapons. He's got Rashad White. So yeah, I think it's Baker all day, baby. Who do we want to lock in for the first 3-and-out start at quarterback this week? Are we not?
I don't know.
Yeah,
All
this is
3 are
again.
good. I like that all 3 of us didn't go like
Right.
obvious. I would start any 3 of these guys. If you want, let's be fun and go Caleb Williams.
Okay.
Rookie.
I'm with it.
I think all 3 of our starts we'll see that there'll be starts that we were all right. So Caleb Williams as our first start. So that means RB. He started with Fee. So Dutton, give us your start at running back this week.
We talked about it earlier. You're not going to start him very often this year, but this week start Chuba Hubbard. If you have to play him in a deeper league, start Chuba Hubbard. But you're not going to start him a lot this year, but start him week 1.
Okay. Fee, I see that we picked the same guy. I didn't realize that, but I'm gonna mix up my pick because I did have a backup. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going with Javonte Williams for the Broncos against the Seahawks this week. Williams looked good in the preseason. He catches the ball out of the backfield. He's going to have a lot of volume. The Seahawks were not good on defense last year against the running back. They did revamp their defense, so they should be better. But I want to, again, I just wanted to go with a guy that maybe wasn't necessarily a starter or a big time pick. So I'm going with Javonte Williams. I like him this week.
Like I said, I had Javonte Williams. I already told you I have to start Chuba Hubbard in one league, so I like both of these picks already. I'm gonna go with Zamir White on the Raiders because the Chargers. I feel like this is I want to go completely wild in the first week, and I feel like this is going to be like the only week that this guy's any good. I don't believe we've discussed Alexander Madison, who is his backup right now, at length on this show, that he's just not the guy. So I think in the first couple weeks they ride White out to see who he is before they start mixing anything up. So I'll throw in White. Who do you guys want to pick as the start? I lean towards Javonte Williams because I think that's another guy.
I mean, here's the thing. I was going to pick Javonte Williams until I saw that both of you had already put him on the spreadsheet. So I think we should go with Javonte Williams.
That sounds like it's a good one. Because I'll tell you, Jaleel McLaughlin's going to steal carries as the year goes on. So may as well get a good start out of Javonte Williams now.
Plus, we then have Williams and Williams as running back and quarterback.
I mean, it's perfect. That's the way it should go. Wide receiver starts. I'm going to go with Baker. I picked a quarterback, so I'm going to double dip just like Fee is doing his stack. And I had Godwin in there. I don't get why there's not a lot of love for him right now and why he was so cheap in FanDuel. But, he had a off year last year and he still had over 1,000 yards. He just didn't have a lot of touchdowns. So I feel like this guy's going to get you points, especially back in the slot. Fee.
I am going with Calvin Ridley, playing against the Bears. New team. I think this. If we think that Caleb Williams and the Bears are going to put up points, I think that the Titans are going to have to figure out a way to stay with them, and that's Will Levis to Calvin Ridley. So,
yeah, Dunton.
I'm going Amari Cooper Duper Looper against the Cowboys. Old team rivalry game, for Coop. Yeah. I think Browns are going to be well, so I'm going with Cooper.
All right, I would love to go Godwin here. Did we pick a Williams? No, I was going to say if we picked a Williams, we got to go with the Williams.
I like 100%. The Godwin pick.
I love Godwin.
I like the Godwin pick.
Let's go. All right, tight end. We're back to Fee. Get us started with your tight end.
Yeah, I'm going with Jake Ferguson for the Dallas Cowboys against the Cleveland Browns. Dallas should be throwing the ball pretty often. And if Brandon Cooks is still banged up, it's CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson. So I expect him to get a lot of targets this week.
Yeah, and the Cooks is not trending the right way, but it's still only Wednesday. Keep that in mind. I always give that reminder, and I forgot. See, I'm a little rusty. It is Wednesday night, so we're going with the injury reports aren't even out yet. If there's a surprise injury, obviously don't listen to us if we pick someone that is not playing, and you're on your own. So I'm on Dunton.
Dalton Kincaid. I said it earlier. I don't think Josh Allen's going to have a lot of deep targets, but I think he's really going to rely on his tight ends. And Dalton Kincaid should have a lot of targets, which will result in a lot of catches for PPR leagues and yards. So Dalton Kincaid is your man.
Earlier, I said the Bengals were going to blow out the Patriots, and the Patriots were going to get a touchdown in garbage time. And that touchdown is going to Hunter Henry because Jacoby Brissett loves his tight ends. And I don't know any of his receivers. So I think Hunter Henry gets in the end zone, probably gets Hunter Henry has a day. It's like 3 catches for 21 yards and a touchdown. And if you're in a PPR that gives you points for first downs as well, that's like a 10, 12 point game. Perfect for your tight end. But I do love Kincaid. I was actually going to sit Ferguson, so I'm a little hesitant there. Even with Cooks banged up, I feel like that Browns defense is pretty solid. Um, I do like Kincaid a lot. So what do we think?
I'll go with Kincaid. That's fine. I think
Yeah.
he's going to be a big target this year too. So I think that's a solid play.
All right, so let's run down our 3 and out starts. At quarterback, you have Caleb Williams. At running back, let me add that I think all 3 of our quarterbacks, again, I want to reiterate, are good starts of the week for you. Running back, we went with Javonte Williams. Wide receiver, we went with Godwin. For the double dip, and at tight end, we went with his Josh Allen's number 1 target, Dalton Kincaid. We're going to move to sits. And the thing, I'm just looking at our spreadsheet right now. The thing I find interesting is pretty much everybody on here, minus the Bengals running backs, perhaps, but everyone on here is a starter. Like this is I feel like everyone on this list is someone would be starting in fantasy. So let's get rolling. Dutton, give us your quarterback sit of the week.
There's a lot of noise coming out of Big D, and I don't think that's going to bode well. And I think this matchup against the Browns is going to be a rough start for the Cowboys. So I'm sitting Dak. I don't know if you're going to sit Dak a lot this year, but I would be cautious in playing Dak this week.
Hey.
I'm sitting Brock Purdy this week against the tough Jets defense.
I am sitting Anthony Richardson because I am a Texans fan and I'm 100% biased, but we do have some new toys to play with. We have a 2nd-year Will Anderson that's also going to be good. And I think the Texans are going to make a living putting pressure on quarterbacks this year. And Anthony Richardson's going to be running for his life a lot, which he's fast and he could extend plays, but I still think the Texans get the best of him. Like I said, I was going to go Purdy. So I'm leaning towards Purdy here.
I like the Purdy pick. I don't know. I'm not. My jury's still out on Purdy. I don't think he's as good as people think he is.
I like Purdy in the sense that he's probably one of the safest floors you'll find at a starting quarterback. Like I feel like the guy gets 200 yards and 2 touchdowns every week. Is that correct?
I think that's why I'm out on him because I don't know if he's got much more than that. You know what I'm saying?
Like the
can talk about that.
300-yard 4 touchdown games are going to be few and far between.
Right.
Let's go to running back Fee running back sit of the week.
I'm sitting the Bengals running backs, both of them, Chase Brown, Zach Moss. The Patriots, while they may not be a good team, their defense is still very good. And so I would expect the Bengals running backs to have a tough day.
I just don't think the Bengals running backs are very good. I think that's what the issue is right there. Although Chase Brown is intriguing because they said he's going to be returning kicks, and if your league rewards you for those touchdowns with the new kickoff rules, that guy could fly if he gets a kickoff return.
It's true.
I don't know that that's going to happen. I wouldn't start a guy based on that. Dutton.
Isaiah Pacheco. I feel like this game is going to be, let's have Patrick Mahomes throw the ball a lot, use some wide receivers, show off some new weapons. Doesn't mean Isaiah Pacheco is not going to touch the ball. I just don't see a big game coming from him. So I feel like this is like a 75 yards. If you're lucky, maybe a touchdown night. Like, I think it's going to be a quiet start to the season. I think Isaiah Pacheco's poised for a great year. I just don't know if it starts week 1.
Yeah, that's fair. And I feel like the Chiefs never come out good, right? They're never strong
right,
in the first 3 weeks of the year. It's like everyone's like, "Oh, the Chiefs are done," and then it's like they don't lose ever again.
Yeah, it's like there's, it takes a little minute for their engine to warm up.
Yeah, because they know they can take the time. They're like, "We're the freaking Chiefs, man. Nobody could."
We're the Chiefs. Right.
We've been to like 4 Super Bowls in 5 years for crying out loud. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
I'm sitting Brian Robinson for multiple reasons. They're playing the Bucks. The Bucks were good again. This is last year, and they lost some pieces too. Everyone's lost some pieces, but the Bucks were good fantasy-wise against the running back. Secondly, I think the Commanders are going to go down pretty quickly, which means they're going to go to the pass game, which means Austin Eckler is probably going to be on the field more than Brian Robinson. But I know Brian Robinson, just based on ADP, was going higher as a starter in fantasy than Austin Eckler was. So, gentlemen, I would sit any one of these.
I mean, here's the thing: the Bengals running backs, I think, are the obvious choice,
yeah.
right? So
Even
that's who we're
against the
going.
Patriots, I don't know
I
that it's an obvious choice against the Patriots.
I like
I
the Brian Robinson pick.
do. That's where I was going next. Fee is that
Okay.
I think that, and Wayne, you said it. Like, I don't know if he's going to be on the field a lot because he's a ball control running back.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like
They may try to start off that way, but
right,
I don't
but
finish that way.
Okay. So Brian Robinson Jr. Let's get that junior in there. It is wide receiver. I'm gonna start, and I'm sorry. I just think that Jets defense is absurd. I think they shut down. There's a lot of mouths to feed on the 49ers, so you're gonna have to hone in on one of them. And I think the victim this week is Debo. So I'm gonna go bold and say a guy that most people drafted as their wide receiver one, but I'm gonna call him my sit of the week. Debo at the Jets. Dutton.
I'm sitting Cooper Cup. The Lions have a much improved secondary, and I think that will benefit the Lions and not benefit Cooper Cup fantasy owners.
Fair enough. And Fee.
Yeah, I'm sitting George Pickens this week for the Steelers against the Falcons, who, much like the Lions, have a very improved defense and secondary. So I'm sitting George Pickens.
I like the Pickens pick.
Pickens.
I'm not entirely sold on the Steelers offense right now, but
that could be the other problem.
Like Russell Wilson's going to be running for his life back
Rusty
there.
Wilson. I mean Russell. Sorry,
Rusty.
Sorry, Russell. Wilson.
I'm looking for so Pittsburgh's offensive line currently is ranked second to last.
Yeah, it has not been good. And by has been, I mean this offseason, not like historically. Like obviously the Steelers are good historically. Tight end. Let's I forget who we're gonna start with. We're gonna start with Fee because I was gonna pick him as well, and then I switched because I saw you had him. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sitting Cole Kmet against the Titans. The Titans D was actually very good against the tight end last year, but also because they have 1,000 other weapons on the Bears offense. And, while we do like Caleb Williams this week, where's he going with the ball? We don't really know. So
yeah.
I'm going to sit Cole Kmet this week.
And there's Cole Kmet is good. He's a very good tight end. He's in the wrong place because there's a lot of other good hands on that team, even at running back Swift. I agree with you. I think Kmet's the odd man out against the team that was really good against the tight end last year. Dutton, go Dutton, because I have a question about your pick after you talk about your pick. So go Dutton.
Okay, I'm picking this only because I wanted to just put one of these teams in this because I can't believe this game is happening still.
Oh yeah.
But I'm picking Dallas Goedert to sit against the Packers because somebody has to sit because somebody's not going to make it to this game because they're not going to get out of their hotel room. And I'm worried about these players. This sounds scary for them. So sit Dallas Goedert.
What do we think Goddard's like? I don't want to say he's a bust because I still feel like he went pretty late for tight ends, but do we think he's back to his what year are we in? So 2022 he was great. 2023 he was not. What Dallas Goedert do we get this year?
I don't know, but the rumors and news sound like that he's not all that great right now.
Right? That's what I've been reading
injury too. Or it's just
battling an injury.
Everything you hear, it's just like, yeah.
He's going to be used to block a lot for Saquon.
Maybe. You got wide receivers that are good enough to fill that void.
Right.
I'm going with a pick that nobody will like to hear, but I'm going to tell you to sit Trey McBride. I've been down on him, but I don't think it's necessarily his fault. Kyler Murray is a guy that likes his bright, shiny toy, and I think he's going to take that bright, shiny toy, Michael Pittman or not Michael Pittman,
Marvin
Harrison Jr., take it for a ride in the first game against the Bills secondary that I think he could beat. I think Trey McBride probably gets you 6 to 8 points, but people were drafting him number 3 tight end pretty much. So I think he kind of busts out in that aspect this week. Gentlemen, Fee, did you have something to say? You kind of look like you were going to say something.
Well, I was just gonna say I saw where you went with that when you said Michael Pittman, because Marvin Harrison, Colts, his dad, Colts.
Yeah.
I saw where the connection was there.
Yeah, totally. I'm glad you were there with me. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, I was gonna say Komet, Dutton, but what do you think about our lock of the week?
Komet's good. I like that pick
Yeah.
decision.
Again, I think we got 2 guys on this list that may not necessarily be their own fault this week, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Let's recap the 3 and out sits of the week. At quarterback, we got Brock Purdy. At running back, we got Brian Robinson Jr. of the Commanders, George Pickens at wide receiver against those Falcons, and Cole Kmet against the Bears against the Titans. Gentlemen, I think that covers everything. That was a welcome back to the first year of the show. It was like that went smoothly. I don't think we messed anything up, but definitely let us know in the comments if we did. That being said, before we go, Fee, Dutton, what do we have to add?
Nothing, just enjoy
football.
Enjoy the week, the rest of the week of football on Thursday, on Friday, on Sunday,
Friday
on
football.
Monday.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So yeah.
There's so much football. Don't forget to go to Gridiron Ratings and check out all of Jeff's rankings. Jordan Vanek's daily fantasy information is available there as well. So make sure, of course, that you hit that like button down there. You hit a follow, and you send us $1 million when you win your league. That's all we ask. It's not a lot. We don't ask for a lot, but we hope to see you next time. Good luck, and thanks as always for joining us. We'll see you next week on 3 Now.